That was so much louder than I thought it would be. I have a lot of sketchbooks. I have been drawing for as long as I can remember, so I have a lot of sketchbooks. So I thought today I would be so gracious as to show you a couple of them. Couple of notes. First of all, I'm trying a new setup where I record audio from my mic separate from my camera feed, so I'll see if that goes over well. These sketchbooks range extremely in the time period that they each come from. Most of them are from somewhere around elementary school to middle school, and I'm probably gonna skip a lot of pages. But if I come across anything while recording that I think is interesting and I want to showcase to the world, then I'm gonna showcase it. Starting from this one, you can tell from the very juvenile design that this is one of my oldest sketchbooks. I have had this since late elementary school. I feel like I remember it being used in 5th grade a lot. I would just sort of doodle whatever I wanted. There's a lot of just pages where it's just one random doodle of a furry or something, and a lot of them are in the same pose. This is my character, Blue Wing. She's one of my oldest personas from around the Flipnote Hatena era, where I made all of my characters that represented me in some sort of way have blue, spelled B-L-U, in their names, because that was my Flipnote pseudonym, because I was an Invader Zim fan and my Irken OC was named Blue, but without the E, because then it was 3 letters, like Zim and what was the other one's name? Whatever the other important Irken character's name was. I haven't watched Invader Zim in years. On a couple of these pages, you can see a couple of doodles that I did later in life in a different style than when I first drew in here. This was a character from a species that I made, because when I was a kid, I was ahead of the curve of closed species, and I would just make my own open species, technically. I guess that's what they were. Since I didn't care about rules when making these creatures, I just liked to make a bunch of species and put thought into like their biology, their society, whatever. These were called Sugaras, I think. They were basically like sugar gliders, but leaning harder into the candy theme. So they were all themed after some sort of like candy or sweet or like flavor of candy, and this one was cherry based, obviously. And here's another one of them. This one was based after orange slice candy. I made a lot of Pokemon characters when I was younger. This one is named Emmy Swirl, and she was the spiky-eared Pichu, but both of her ears were spiky. I thought it was so clever for this, but one time when I was younger and I used to frequent Colors 3D on the 3DS as my main art program and my main art social media, I saw a post of someone complaining about double spiky-eared Pichus and how unoriginal they were, and I think that's about when I stopped using this character. And here's a creepypasta version of Emmy, because she was also kind of a persona of mine at a point, and I would insert my characters into literally any situation I wanted. I even tried making her a unique signature. Ooh, the Pichu tail in the back, and the swirls. That was so beautiful. I had such a beautiful mind. There's a very dapper kitty. You can see that my style was very Flipnote inspired, because it was as anime as you could get with me not being a kid that really watched much anime outside of a couple of episodes of Sergeant Frog. I remember this was a character that represented one of my friends from school, and she wore the pink bow, so I guess I drew Emmy stealing the pink bow because, oh, I was full of mischief and whimsy. Okay, I don't have the context to this, but I'm pretty sure this is like an aged up version of Emmy, and I don't know why she got so fucked up and evil. And her spiky ears are gone. What was that about? Let her keep them. This was when I started to get into Minecraft, but not because I actually played Minecraft, because I couldn't afford it, my PC couldn't run it, and I didn't know that you could buy games online. I'm pretty sure what was hooking me so much on Minecraft as a kid was this one animator I used to watch called Mango Kiwi, or something like that. And those videos shaped my interest in Minecraft growing up instead of the actual game. Here's a couple more Minecrafts. Alright, there's not anything more of interest in this one. We're moving on to another. Okay, I have no idea what the exact date of this one is. I feel like it must have been around late elementary and early middle school. This was when I started to experiment with art supplies that weren't just coloring stuff that I got for school. This was when I started to use colored pencils that I bought at the local office supply store because I wanted colored pencils to color with. Oh my god, the ancient text. This is probably the first documented drawing of my persona Cece, who is one of my personas who has stood the test of time the most. because I just keep drawing her. I keep falling back on her because she's so simple and I like her design. She's a funny little cat that I themed around the colors of cotton candy. What more can you ask for? And here's Cece and some dragon character that I would draw her with sometimes. Oh yeah, I was into Danganronpa in middle school. I should not have been into Danganronpa in middle school. If you want juxtaposition of just how much I shouldn't have been watching Danganronpa when I was doing this sketchbook, here is unironic Minions fan art. Bob was my favorite. And here's a self-portrait of myself. This is how I looked on your average day in middle school, except I did not use my tablet in my lap. I don't know why I drew it like that. I always had it on a flat surface. And another self-portrait, me with my beloved 3DS, and asking for donuts, because I guess I must have really wanted donuts at the time. Here is very adorable art of two people as animal people, ship art of them. This was me and my friend's OC that I shipped myself with. Moving on. I don't even want to think about how much off yaoi there is strewed throughout my old art. Another self-portrait. I did really like drawing myself with blue sweaters, even though I don't think I ever wore one. Zachary from Off with some kitties. Okay, here was the period of time where for a while, for some reason, I changed Cece's design. And not even just because I don't think she needed to be changed at all, I just don't like this design. Because, for context, you can't see it here when it's uncolored like this, but I'll try and throw a colored image on the screen. This stripe was black, this stripe was like light blue, and the base of the paws were white. I don't know why I did that. It didn't look horrible, but it just wasn't what I was going for with her energy. So I don't even know, man. Here are two of my oldest OCs. In fact, probably my oldest OCs that I know have been documented since I was a child and have stood the test of time. Maybe one day I'll make a separate video dedicated to them because they're a very interesting case to me, and I'd have to recreate the original comic of them anyway because that's totally lost to time. Their names are Masker Cat and Thundercat. But the cat is spelled with a K because that's subversive. I don't know what else to say about them. They're roommates. Okay, and here was a big time skip where we skipped to me being into Danganronpa, but again, further into middle school. And I was mostly in it for gay shipping. Specifically, I really liked Ishimaru and Mondo. And here's a bunch of my old personas from over the years. Very nice. I think this was around when Danganronpa V3 first released, which is the Danganronpa game that I was actually around for the release for. And again, I was not of the recommended age to be playing it, but that is certainly a memory that I have, and that impacted my artistic journey. I'm pretty sure from here on out, this actually just becomes a pretty Danganronpa-centric journal. I think there's even a page where I was writing a list of every single character in the franchise and was checking them off as I was going, of if I drew them or not. Yeah, this is just... Okay, no more Danganronpa. This was when I was into FNAF High School. If you're asking yourself, what the hell is that, or your immediate reaction is knowing what it is and cringing your ass off, I don't care. This was something that I was really into in high school. So, okay, I guess this sketchbook has persisted through a really long time period. Okay, and this one is pretty recent. I want to say it could have been early 2020s? This was when I slightly redesigned my partner Apollo's OCs for him. They've since undergone more changes, but I think this gave them a push in the right direction. Here was a self-portrait I did for a college course. And here's some Socks BX fan art. I only started watching Socks last year, so I guess I must have drawn this. No, I drew this year. Pretty sure that's when the Socks Lock started. And that's as far as this book goes. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Alright, this is the last book I am going through for now. I underestimated how tired I get from standing up, and I can only do this setup with recording like this if I'm standing up. So, we're just gonna have to deal with what we've got. Maybe I can make a part 2 where I go through more sketchbooks, because I am not even exaggerating, this is not even scratching the surface. Not in the slightest. So I think this was also late elementary, early middle school. Who knows? This was when I started experimenting with pencil more. Specifically like charcoal type pencil. And I was also trying to learn realism. Whether I was good at it or not, that's up for you to decide, I guess. I was specifically really into warrior cats at the time, so this was my rendition of Tiger Star. Okay, I know these drawings, or at least most of them, are more recent. The pencil ones in the middle, those are from when I was actively doing this book, but the The darker lines around the sides, those were definitely way later. Here's a character that I made when I was younger. Her name is Dreams, and she's like a dream attendant, I guess. She like goes into people's minds when they're having trouble dreaming, and she puts them in wacky scenarios. I've considered bringing her back, but probably as a humanoid this time. There's nothing really wrong with her design, I just think I'd have more fun designing her as a humanoid species. This is a humanization of one of my old OC's, Button. She was extremely mentally ill. That's all I can say about that. I was a mentally ill child projecting, so more realism. This was my attempt at a crow, raven, I suppose. Here's some Toy Bonnie fan art, except I was in a really wonky phase with my anatomy. I was trying to figure out how to draw snouts at any angle other than the side, and it didn't really work. Okay, this must have been from like within the past year or so, a redraw of this, which is just some random wolf with wings, I guess. Okay, this was my character, Blue Heart. Yes, I had a lot of blue characters. I explained the naming convention earlier. Most of these were from around middle school. This one must have been more recent. Again, I was experimenting with angles, snout, stuff like that, and didn't really work. But I tried, and I'm proud of myself for trying. This was more of me self-inserting myself, but instead of with an OC, I'll just let you guess what character this is. If you can pinpoint who it is, I don't know what that says about either of us, honestly. This was fan art of an Animal Crossing dream world that I really liked, but I've forgotten its name by now. If I remember, I'll put it on screen. Okay, there was a time skip between the last drawing and whatever's here. This is Bee and Puppy Hat fan art. This was when more episodes started dropping on Verve, and I forget what episode this is, but if you watch the series and you know what episode this is, tell me. I haven't watched Bee and Puppy Cat in years. I never watched the Netflix show. I've heard mixed things about it. Did you think it was good? Lisa fan art. I don't know if I should have been looking into Lisa games at this age, but cool art. Oh my god, it all comes back to Danganronpa Yaoi. Okay, this was when I first started getting into the Sonic franchise. And you might be saying, have you not been a Sonic fan your whole life? And you'd be surprised to hear, no, I only got into it in high school. And this was in October, like Inktober style drawing challenge type thing, but I didn't get very far. I still like the Chaos one, that's cute. Okay, this one looks more recent. This was when I was trying to learn how to draw legendary Pokemon and stylize them. I think the Reshiram's pretty cute. This must have been when I was trying to channel my inner shiny Eevee Flipnote style. Reblog for Carkalicious 2009. Wahoo! This was around when Apollo and I first got together, and so it was that honeymoon phase where I drew us all the time. And don't get me wrong when I say honeymoon phase in regards to me and him. We are still fucking obsessed with each other, but when we first got together, it was like all we could talk about. Here's some various Puyo Puyo fan art. And here was when I tried doing Inktober for a period of time, but I did not get very far. That's a bit of a pattern you'll notice with me and monthly drawing challenges. I don't fucking do them. Some assorted doodles of Apollo and I's characters, Scarlet and Ellie. Various Pokemon self-insert related doodles. The Mew character is one of my Pokesonas. And the trainer Sona here was just trainer me at a point. And said trainer Sona was for when I did a Nuzlocke that was influenced by the Cute Charm glitch, so the Clefairy was my team lead at the time to help me get those shinies in that challenge run. I don't know what the fuck this is. A few assorted character doodles, including some Owl House characters. Okay, we've looped back to Sonic here. I really like this big drawing. Some doodles of my Persona Terios. Specifically when drawing them, I tend to draw a lot more loose and flowy because it just sort of fits thematically, and it usually pays off well. Okay, here was when I tried experimenting with watercolors before I got designated watercolor paint, and it got messy. But I think this conductor here is really cute. I should try and do a mixture of watercolor and colored pencil more often. And okay, I'm done. I'm done, both as in I have no more material in this book, and physically I am exhausted. I'm gonna record the outro without my camera so I can sit down. Okay, now you're hearing from Sitting Down Arc, and I am feeling the blood flowing back into my hands, yay. Yeah, I don't have much more to say. I just didn't want to end off that video without giving a proper finish. Those were my sketchbooks. I have plenty more to go through, so if this intrigued you at all, and you're curious about my little child artist brain some more, feel free to prod me about it. I like making videos like this because it gives me an excuse to flip through those books, and it lets me document child me's art on the internet, and I think that would make her happy. It makes me happy. I promise one of these days I'm gonna have a proper
outro,
but I'm waiting to figure out if I can make custom music for it and graphics and such. So until then, I'm just gonna keep being stupid about it. Goodbye!